Hello and welcome to SGPN's Daily Dog. I'm your host, Britton Hess. I'm here with my favorite Underdog fantasy pick and plays for Friday, July 11th, 2025. Very special day. It's 7-Eleven day. Go get your free Slurpee at 7-Eleven if you have one in the area. PSA, get your free Slurpee. They're not sponsoring this, but it's a great promotion they do every year. I don't drink many Slurpees, only on 7-Eleven day, to be honest. But hey, I'm looking forward to that. Mix a little cherry and Coke Slurpee. You're having a good day. You know what else is going to be a good day? Winning these Underdog entries. If you're new to Underdog, sign up with the promo code DailyDog, DAILYDOG at UnderdogFantasy.com or in the Underdog Fantasy app for a 50% deposit match bonus worth up to $1,000. That means put $2,000 on the app, get $1,000 for free. Put $100 on, you get $50 for free, whatever. 50% of what you upload or load onto that app, you'll get extra. So you might as well take advantage of that if you are new to it. And let's get into it. Yesterday, it didn't hit as many slips as I like. I was happy to hit the fade the hype entry with the Cooper Flag under and the Bronny James under, so that was nice to get a little winner there. We had a couple entries get refunded due to guys not playing, and also that Guardians and White Sox game getting delayed. So now we get a double header today, which always makes things confusing when you're doing your matchup analysis, because you're like, wait, what game is this? When is this game starting? Who do I like him against, et cetera, et cetera. But I actually don't have anything from that White Sox series here. I don't think I have anything from that White Sox series here. But let's get into it. Let's get into MLB entry number one. Jackson Chourio higher than 1.5 total bases. I'm a big Jackson Chourio guy. I think that he is a guy that is going to get he's got just an extra base hit man. He bats at a good part of the order, so he gets those extra late at bats depending on how the game is going. So you can't really go wrong going with Jackson Chourio, one of the great young stars in the league right now, has a very bright future ahead of him. So I will be taking Mr. Jackson Chourio in this one against the Nationals, and Mitchell Parker, who is a pitcher that can be hit. Then I'm going to go with Matt McLain, higher than 1.5 total bases for the Reds. The Reds got their offense going yesterday against the against the Marlins, and now they get against the Rockies and German Marquez. Good opportunity here for McLain to get higher than 1.5 total bases. That's a 3.53x multiplier. MLB number two, we're doing both guys for RBIs here. We're going Vladimir Guerrero Jr., higher than 0.5 RBIs against Luis Severino and the Athletics. Severino not been great this year. They spent some money on him, surprisingly, in the offseason, and it has not worked. He's not pitched well at home. I think Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to get an RBI here, so taking that one. Obviously, he bats behind guys who get on base, so that is good. And obviously, the home run equity is definitely there at Sutter Health Park in Sacramento. Pairing that with Jesus Sanchez, higher than 0.5 RBIs for the Marlins. They're going to the Orioles. They're going to Dean Kramer. Dean Kramer is a pitcher that can give up some runs. It's not always a total train wreck like some other pitchers, but he only went 4 1/3 last start, 5 earned in that one. That was after 3 pretty good starts, but prior to that, I mean, if you look at his season, it's mostly 4 and 5 run outings for him. So I think that Jesus Sanchez with those hard hit balls is going to drive someone home. This is a 4.59x multiplier, so that's a big one. Maikel Garcia higher than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs for the Royals against the Mets and Kodai Senga. Senga is kind of a beast, 1.47 ERA. He's coming off the IL, though. I like to take advantage of pitchers making their first start after missing time. Maikel Garcia quietly been very good for the Royals. I know everyone wants to talk about Bobby Witt, but when you just look at some of the numbers, Maikel Garcia is better in average than Bobby Witt. He's best on the team as far as everyday starters go. As far as he doesn't have as many doubles, doesn't have quite as many hits. He's got not as many runs, but whatever. He has been performing at a good level for this team as far as getting on base goes. So I'm taking Maikel Garcia higher than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. And then Luis Arraez higher than 1.5 total bases. We feature Arraez almost every day because he's a walking hit. Doesn't get one every day, like yesterday, but he generally does not go back to back without having at least contributing to the stat sheet in one way or another. So I'm going to take him against the Phillies here and Ranger Suarez. Higher than 1.5 total bases for Luis Arraez with Maikel Garcia higher than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, a 3.13x multiplier. MLB number 4, these ones are both run entries. Ketel Marte higher than 0.5 runs for the D-backs against the Angels. Tyler Anderson, underrated pitcher because people think he sucks. He doesn't suck. He's just average, and Ketel Marte scores against average pitchers. Bichette, higher than 0.5 runs. Hopefully it comes from Vladimir Guerrero and kill two birds with one stone with Vladdy getting the RBI and Bichette getting the score against Severino. As I said, Severino hates playing at this park, so look for some runs from the Blue Jays in this one. That's a 2.61x multiplier, a little bit low, but sometimes you just got to try to put the money in the bank any way you can. All right, pitchers entry number one. We're going German Marquez, Chase Burns, higher than 0.5 first inning runs allowed. Marquez obviously is liable to, give up the long ball, and it's going to be good hitting weather at the Great American Small Park in Cincinnati. Chase Burns, on the other hand, he is allowed 2 home runs in 3 starts. So there's some guys on the top of this order that can hit the ball far for the Rockies. So I think we can get higher than 0.5 first inning runs here. Then Ryne Nelson of the D-backs against Tyler Anderson of the Angels, higher than 0.5 first inning runs allowed. Again, I think that there's just going to be some pop in the bats from the onset in this one. I think that the matchup is going to be favoring the batters a little bit more than the pitchers. So 3x multiplier on that one. Pitchers number 2. Dustin May, Logan Webb, higher than 0.5 first inning runs allowed. Both these teams, I've had some extreme offensive struggles. I look for some aggressive at-bats here. Obviously, these teams are familiar with these pitchers that are divisional rivals. Everyone's expecting Logan Webb to shut out the Dodgers. He might do it, but I think Dustin May could give up a long ball early. He allows too much contact. Grant Holmes versus Matthew Liberatore, lower than 0.5 first inning runs allowed because of the fact that Liberatore has been pretty good. Grant Holmes has been pretty good. And also, I don't necessarily think either one of these offenses are necessarily fast starters first inning. Ronald Acuna is scary. Profar is kind of becoming scary for the Braves. But I think they'll get out of the first inning, and then it kind of could get a little bit wonky as we get to the third, fourth, fifth inning there. That's a 3.21x multiplier because we're in the enhanced one in that Dodgers and Giants game for the over or over 0.5 first inning runs allowed. WNBA entry number 1. Fade the hype. Caitlin Clark, lower than 18.5 points. Nneka Ogwumike, I can't really say her name, lower than 16.5 points. Caitlin Clark has looked terrible, and her return from injury has just not been going well. Ogwumike also has not been performing up to snuff. This is a 2.67x multiplier for these 2 star players to have lower than their point totals on Underdog. Tennis has been interesting. Tennis yesterday, I called it with Anisimova to win a set. She won 2 sets, so she's going to the finals. And then in the other match, I had Iga Swiatek and Belinda Bencic higher than 21.5 games played. And it stayed way under because Bencic got steamrolled by Iga. Iga was awesome in that one. So lost that. But hey, we're going to get back to the tennis interest today with the men. Carlos Alcaraz, higher than 37.5 games played against Taylor Fritz. I think Fritz is good enough serve on grass to get some tie breaks, and I think he's going to win a set, to be honest. It's actually a reduced multiplier for Taylor Fritz to win a set, but higher than 37.5 games played is a flat multiplier. If you know how tennis scoring works, that doesn't make a ton of sense because Carlos Alcaraz is a big favorite here. Carlos Alcaraz should win this match. But I do think Fritz is probably going to win a set or 2 even in this one. Alcaraz, his return is very good. In the rally, he's going to beat Taylor Fritz, but it's a question of if Fritz is having a good serving day. He could lose in straight sets and this thing could go over because he could be forcing those tie breaks, or get a 1-7-5 in there. And he could get there. So I'm going to take Carlos Alcaraz higher than 37.5 games played. Pairing that with Novak Djokovic higher than 1.5 sets won. I think it's in for a war against Jannik Sinner. I think that he's liable to win this game. Or this match. He's got a good shot at winning. I know Sinner's the young player, new generation, et cetera. But I'm taking Novak Djokovic higher than a 1.5 sets won. That is a 3x multiplier with Alcaraz over in the games played. All right, let's get to Lotto entry. Paul Skeens, higher than 7.5 strikeouts. I think that this is an alt over. Paul Skeens, obviously one of the great young pitchers in the league, one of the best overall pitchers in the league, to be honest. And then the Twins lineup, they've got a lot of strikeouts in this lineup, especially if Byron Buxton is still hurt. If he's not in the lineup, that changes things quite a bit. And then we are going to go with German Marquez, higher than 3.5 earned runs allowed against the Reds. Again, he allowed 6 in his last start, I do believe. So let's get higher than 3.5 earned runs allowed by German Marquez. Nick Kurtz of the Athletics, another one of these young players who's making some dang good plays, higher than 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's been really clutch for this team. We'll see how he does against Scherzer, but I don't know. I don't think Scherzer's not the same guy he was a while ago. I mean, he's getting old. And then last entry is Dustin May, higher than 2.5 earned runs allowed. I think The Giants are going to sadly find success against my Dodgers here. So 18.1x multiplier on that. Flex at 10.86x if it goes 4 for 4, 2.53x if it goes 3 out of 4. Dong squad number 1. We are going to go with Max Muncy, not Dodgers Max Muncy. We're going with Athletics Max Muncy, higher than 0.5 home runs against Scherzer. We know Scherzer can give up the long ball. He can pitch great and give up a couple solo shots and still have a good outing, going 7 innings and whatnot. But give me Max Muncy higher than 0.5 home runs. Aaron Judge higher than 0.5 home runs. I mean, it's Aaron Judge. I could just say, he's facing, a pitcher from the planet Klingon, and he would probably still find a way to do that. But he's going against Chris Flexen, who is a relief pitcher who's not going to play that many innings here. Max probably 4. He can give up homers. He's actually been pretty good in relief duty, but this is a starter, and we know how his starting looked last year with the White Sox. So give me Judge higher than 0.5 home runs, and then Jackson Chourio higher than 0.5 home runs. You know that I like this guy a lot, and I don't like Mitchell Parker. 102.13x or 51.06x / 12.24x if it goes 2 out of 3 on that flex. Recommend flexing the Dong squads. Dong squad number 2, Addison Barger, higher than 0.5 home runs. Got to get some of that Blue Jays home run equity against Luis Severino at this ballpark. TJ Friedel, higher than 0.5 home runs for the Reds against German Marquez. Giancarlo Stanton higher than 0.5 home runs against this Cubs bullpen day. Stanton's getting he's heating up a little bit. The power is still there. 61.01x, flex it, 30.5x or 5.91x if it goes 2 out of 3. All right, that's all I got for you today. Good luck on your picks, and let's make some money.